In the morning, she is an unnoticed radio host with a violent temper and a vengeful nature. In the afternoon, she becomes a disheveled parking attendant with a positive, optimistic attitude and a bit of shyness. En-hao, embodying the radio host persona, has been in a relationship with her boyfriend Hyun-mu for 8 years. Initially, they were inseparable, but eventually, they headed towards a breakup. Despite the split, they still work at the same place. Today, the news director asked Hyun-mu to host the 4 p.m. live broadcast. However, Hyun-mu has always been a morning radio host, working fixed hours from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., a schedule that hasn't changed in 3 years. Despite her explanations, even citing that her presence has led to the highest ratings, the director insisted on the change, holding on to outdated ideas. The 4 p.m. slot is meant for a male and female co-host, not 2 males. As the argument escalated, Hyun-mu's ex-boyfriend Hyun-mu stepped forward, offering to take over the 4 p.m. live broadcast. Seeing Hyun-mu speak, the director immediately changed his tone, complaining about how tiring the afternoon show is and how it sometimes requires getting hands dirty on site to entertain the audience. Hearing this, Hyun-mu became upset, questioning why she should do the dirty work if Hyun-mu could not. Hyun-mu insisted on doing the afternoon broadcast, leaving no room for the director to argue. Meanwhile, Hyun-mu was still pondering over Hyun-mu referring to her as that person, which caused the director to explode in anger. Hyun-mu was tasked with convincing Hyun-mu to give up his spot, and she had to appear on the show before him. She believed Hyun-mu still loved her. Otherwise, why would he offer to stand in? Shocked by her confidence, Hyun-mu wondered if she had been drinking. In reality, he stepped up to avoid awkwardness. Hyun-mu didn't understand why Hyun-mu had only ever hosted morning shows. She explained that she had put a lot of effort into protecting her show and wouldn't switch easily. Upon hearing this, Hyun-mu came up with a plan to move the 4 p.m. live broadcast to the morning. Hyun-mu thought he was crazy. Even though Hyun-mu was a popular figure in the broadcasting department and the next likely anchor for the 9 p.m. news, he didn't have the authority to change showtimes. It seemed like a dream. Yet the time change happened, and to Hyun-mu's surprise, Hyun-mu became her co-host. The director explained that there wasn't enough time to prepare the originally scheduled host, so Hyun-mu stepped in. The more Hyun-mu thought about it, the angrier she got. She ended up confiding in Moon-ji-on, who had a crush on her. Despite Hyun-mu being 37, Moon-ji-on didn't care. She knew about his feelings, but never gave him a chance. Reflecting on Hyun-mu's recent behavior, Hyun-mu decided to seek revenge. She had read online that to get revenge on an ex, she needed to become more beautiful. So the next day, Hyun-mu showed up with her hair styled in big waves. Hyun-mu appeared before everyone and deliberately stepped out of the camera frame during the live broadcast. The director offstage was unsure who to film and had to play a recorded video instead. At the end of the show, the lines that Hyun-mu was supposed to say were taken by Hyun-mu. Angered, Hyun-mu stomped on him with her high heels and innocently asked if it hurt. Hyun-mu thought Hyun-mu stole her lines because she walked off camera, but he told her she was out of touch with reality. After 14 years, he claimed she had lost her professional awareness. Hyun-mu didn't understand what he meant until the staff told her her skirt had come undone. If Hyun-mu hadn't taken over, it could have led to an on-air mishap. Hyun-mu felt foolish and shared the incident with Moon-ji-on. Moon-ji-on bluntly said Hyun-mu must still like Hyun-mu. Perhaps to prove she didn't, Hyun-mu asked Moon-ji-on to date her and scheduled it for the weekend. Hyun-mu, who overheard, appeared indifferent but secretly recommended Hyun-mu for a weekend program filming marine debris out of town. This occupied her weekend, so Hyun-mu suggested rescheduling her date with Moon-ji-on to the following week. But Moon-ji-on was busy then, so he decided to join her on the shoot instead. A colleague relayed to Hyun-mu that Hyun-mu was taking Moon-ji-on on the trip. Hyun-mu asked a female colleague if they could finish filming that day, not wanting Hyun-mu and Moon-ji-on to share a room overnight. During the shoot, the rough seas caused frequent accidents. Just as Hyun-mu steadied herself, a wave knocked her down, causing Moon-ji-on to burst into laughter on the shore. Moon-ji-on's behavior was not out of disinterest in Hyun-mu. He simply believed there was no need to pretend to be overly affectionate. That evening, Moon-ji-on drove her home. As they parted, he asked if there would be another date. Ju Yun-ho didn't answer, but instead brought up her dislike for Jung Hyun-ho. She hated him because when they were together, she had proposed marriage, but Jung Hyun-ho had outright rejected the idea. Despite her efforts, she couldn't change his mind. Moon Ji-yeon scratched his head and told Ju Yun-ho to make a choice. If she said she wasn't interested, he would stop pursuing her. But if she stayed silent and did nothing, he would try even harder to win her over. Unsure of what to say, Ju Yun-ho was kissed by Moon Ji-yeon. The scene shifts to Ju Hyeri, Ju Yun-ho's disheveled second personality, working in a parking lot. Ju Hyeri remembered everything that happened to Ju Yun-ho, but thought it was all a dream. For this reason, she was seeing a psychologist. Ju Hyeri secretly admired another company's news anchor, Kang Ju-yeon, and often watched him from a distance when he parked his car. However, her shy nature kept her from approaching him, opting instead to hide her presence. Ju Hyeri's demeanor was a stark contrast to Ju Yun-ho's, speaking slowly and cautiously. Baek Hye-yeon, who worked at the same news company as Kang Ju-yeon, also had a crush on him, but Kang showed no interest in her. Ju Hyeri was always disheveled, which puzzled her colleagues. Her explanation was that she was too beautiful. She feared that if Kang Ju-yeon saw her face, he would fall in love instantly. On this day, Kang Ju-yeon's company was visited by unwelcome guests led by an older woman who believed Kang Ju-yeon's news report had caused their onions to go unsold. As a result, she and her group caused a disturbance. Just then, Kang Ju-yeon appeared, and the woman, demanding an explanation, picked up a weapon. While being harassed by the woman, Kang Ju-yeon was spotted by Ju Hyeri. Without hesitation, Ju Hyeri grabbed him and they ran, hiding in a corner until security escorted the woman away. Once safe, Kang Ju-yeon explained the incident, but his words deeply moved Ju Hyeri, compelling her to kiss him before walking away like a penguin, leaving a stunned Kang Ju-yeon behind. As Ju Hyeri arrived home on her bike, she was greeted by the voice of Jung Hyun-ho, who had just realized that his girlfriend of 8 years had a peculiar second personality, which made her walk like a monkey. Initially, Jung Hyun-ho thought this was a new tactic by Ju Yun-ho to avoid him, not realizing it was her second personality at play. Ju Hyeri's second personality, named after Ju Yun-ho's sister, originated from their close childhood bond. Whenever Ju Hyeri was hurt, Ju Yun-ho would cry incessantly. An accident one day led to the loss of Ju Hyeri, and following a breakup with Jung Hyun-ho, Ju Yun-ho developed a second personality. Ju Hyeri possesses all of Ju Yun-ho's memories, but perceives them as vivid dreams. Now, seeing her ex-boyfriend from her dreams in reality, Ju Hyeri sought her psychologist again. However, the psychologist explained that Ju Yun-ho and Ju Hyeri are in fact the same person. The doctor explained her diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder, but Ju Hyeri still couldn't believe it, insisting she just had amnesia. Her personality, Ju Hyeri, disappears every day at 4 a.m., replaced by Ju Yun-ho. Ju Yun-ho starts work at 5 a.m., finishes at 2 p.m., and after sleeping for an hour until 4 p.m., Ju Hyeri awakens. She then heads to her job as a car park attendant. Ju Hyeri has a crush on Kang Ju-yeon, a news anchor at the neighboring company, and often reserves parking spots for him. Today, she was exceptionally happy because she had kissed Kang Ju-yeon the night before. She boasted to her colleagues about her actions and even folded a pentagon star for Kang Ju-yeon. Confused by the unexpected kiss from a stranger, Kang Ju-yeon spent the day looking for Ju Hyeri, who kept hiding from him. Finally, in the evening, he confronted her at the office entrance while she was making a delivery. Kang Ju-yeon asked her coldly why she kissed him the previous night. As they spoke, Ju Hyeri started crying, which unexpectedly shook Kang Ju-yeon. Ju Hyeri had not anticipated such a harsh reaction. She thought he would be friendly, and the contrast overwhelmed her, bringing her to tears. Ju Hyeri cried all the way home, repeatedly saying she had been unreasonable. She also wrote about Kang Ju-yeon's angry reaction in her diary, a habit she maintained. At 4 a.m., the alarm rang, waking her first personality, Ju Yun-ho. After waking up and washing her face, she noticed some swelling but didn't know why. The day passed quickly, and it was time for Ju Hyeri's personality to emerge. She couldn't hold back and gave Kang Ju-yeon 1,000 folded stars. Inside was a note with Ju Hyeri's confession. Since then, Ju Hyeri often appeared around Kang Ju-yeon unintentionally, but sometimes she would hide out of shyness. Over time, Kang Ju-yeon became used to her presence, Tonight he sought her out to apologize, feeling he had been too harsh, causing her to cry. Now Kang Ju-yeon was unsure about his feelings for Ju Hiri, which felt strange to him. Seeing him like this, Ju Hiri repeated her confession. As both were about to leave, they stopped. Kang Ju-yeon seemed lost in thought, while Ju Hiri tapped her fingers on a bicycle handle. Then they approached each other. Ju Hiri expressed a desire to know him better after the kiss, and he was curious about her. Unexpectedly, despite just meeting, Kang Ju-yeon took her to his home. There, Ju Hiri learned he had an older brother who had passed away, and his mother, who mistook him for his brother, suffered from mental instability. Ju En-hao was 37 years old, but Ju Hiri introduced herself to Kang Ju-yeon as 28 years old and mentioned that her parents seemed to have died. She has no siblings, but now she has you. A woman wakes up terrified to find herself in a strange man's house. The dominant personality is Ju En-hao, completely overshadowing the second personality. Ju Hyeri doesn't dwell on last night's memories here. Ju En-hao cautiously picks up her clothes and prepares to leave. At the door, she sees Kang Ju-yeon's work badge. She runs to the company and starts looking up information about Kang Ju-yeon online, trying to recall what happened last night. A colleague approaches, puzzled by Ju En-ho's unusual outfit today, as he remembers her never dressing like this. Knowing this male colleague has many friends at Kang Ju-yeon's company, she asks him to inquire about Kang Ju-yeon. Meanwhile, the company needs someone to secretly investigate a marine program. A female colleague who trusts only Jung Hyun-o's reporting wants him to take on the task. However, Jung Hyun-o passes the opportunity to Ju En-ho. While Ju En-ho is preoccupied with the events of last night, another female colleague and a co-worker approach her, trying to persuade her to decline the assignment. But hearing about a 10-minute on-camera opportunity, Ju En-ho immediately agrees to go. Ju En-ho's task is to secretly film in a cold storage, capturing them loading mackerel into domestic boxes and disposing of any traces. She thought she would be on camera, only to find out she can only record audio. Before leaving, her female colleague instructs her to call if anything happens. At the site, Ju En-ho is horrified to discover a dead body and hears strangers' voices outside. She quickly hides in a corner but misses the best chance to escape. Ju En-ho ends up locked in the cold storage. She repeatedly called her female colleague for help, but her colleague, having drunk too much, didn't notice the phone. Ju En-ho tried texting her, but no one replied after a long wait. Her body temperature kept dropping. Ju En-ho wanted to call the police, but her female colleague had specifically instructed her to keep the matter confidential. Having worked for 14 years, Ju En-ho's only ambition was to make a name for herself. Fearing she might lose her job if she called the police, she dismissed the idea. Then, she suddenly thought of Jung Hyun-o and considered asking for help. She remembered Jung Hyun-o once saying one must learn to be independent. However, she was so frightened that she broke down in tears. Her male colleague arrived just in time, saving Ju En-ho from the ordeal. Ju En-ho pretended to be calm, acting as if nothing had happened. Unbeknownst to her, the text message she sent for help had already been seen by Jung Hyun-o, who was the one who found her.